Lilo Pelekai is one of the titular protagonists of the Lilo and Stitch franchise. She's a young, orphan Hawaiian girl who lives on the island of Kauai with her older sister Nani and her extended yet unconventional family of alien visitors marooned on Earth. Lilo and Stitch the movie. Lilo is first seen in the film swimming in the ocean before running late for her hula class. Upon arriving, she causes some of her classmates to slip and explaining her strange reasons for being late, eating Pudge the fish. She gets into a fight with Myrtle Edmonds after Myrtle mockingly insults her, and classes are ended early for the day as a result of Lilo's actions. Rejected by Myrtle and her friend, she heads back home by herself and, feeling depressed, starts listening to Heartbreak Hotel by Elvis Presley. Nani arrives trying frantically to get ready for a visit from social worker Cobra Bubbles that ends up turning out disastrously.
Are you happy?
I'm adjusted. I eat 4 food groups and look both ways before crossing the street, and take long naps, and get disciplined. Yeah, she disciplines me real good. Sometimes 5 times a day. With bricks.
In case you're wondering, this did not go well.
Lilo then begins to scream and throw a temper tantrum as she and Nani get into a fight and they both furiously storm off into their rooms. That night, when Nani goes to Lilo's room to apologize, Lilo spots a falling star that lands near her house and makes a wish for an angel to be her friend. The next day, Lilo and Nani visit the local animal shelter, where Lilo meets and adopts a strange alien creature and names him Stitch, much to Nani's dismay.
Wow!
Nani wants to get rid of Stitch, but Lilo convinces her otherwise because she claims Stitch to be her angel and points out that he is Ohana. Unknown to Lilo, Stitch is a wanted intergalactic criminal being chased by 2 bounty hunters, Jumba Jukiba and Pleakley, and is secretly using her for protection. That night, Lilo and Stitch accidentally cause Nani to lose her job, and the next day, Cobra Bubbles arrives again and orders Stitch to be made into a model citizen and for Nani to find another job. As Lilo and Stitch tag along with Nani to find another job, Lilo uses Elvis Presley as a role model for Stitch. At the beach, it ends in a disaster and Nani fails to get a job as a lifeguard. Nani's boyfriend David comes and takes Nani and Lilo surfing in order to cheer them up. After Jumba tries to get Stitch and it looks like Stitch was trying to drown Lilo, Cobra comes and says he will take Lilo away the next day. Stitch, realizing everything is his fault after David saying that he really believed Lilo and Nani had a chance until Stitch came along, leaves Lilo. The next day, Nani applies for a job at the coffee shop and leaves Lilo at home. There, Stitch returns with Jumba and a fight begins, quickly resulting in the house's destruction. As the fire department arrives, so does Cobra Bubbles, who Lilo contacted during Jumba and Pleakley's invasion, and decides it's time for her to be taken away. Nani returns and argues with Cobra, and during the chaos, Lilo escapes the scene. Stitch returns to her, but the little girl immediately hardens and starts crying when he hands her a damaged photo of her parents, rightfully blaming the alien for causing her family so much trouble. Even more so upon finding out Stitch is one of them, referring to Jumba and Pleakley after he reveals his natural form, angrily pushes him and coldly tells Stitch to get out of her life. Just then, Captain Gantu, a member of the Galactic Federation who was ordered to capture Stitch, arrives and kidnaps both Stitch and Lilo and puts them in a containment tube. Gantu puts the tube on the back of his ship. While Stitch escapes, Lilo is taken away. Fortunately, Stitch rallies Nani, Jumba, and Pleakley to rescue her, and ultimately does so successfully. Lilo then happily kisses Stitch, calls him a good dog, and thus accepts him as part of her family despite him being an alien.
Good dog!
When the Grand Councilwoman arrives on Earth to take Stitch into custody, Lilo shows the certificate from the dog pound, showing Stitch is now legally in her possessions, and points out that taking Stitch from her would be stealing. This, along with the fact that Stitch has had an obvious change of heart, leads the Grand Councilwoman to sentence Stitch to a life in exile on Earth with his newfound Ohana. In the epilogue, it is shown that Lilo, with the help of Stitch, Nani, Jumba, Pleakley, David, and Cobra, has rebuilt their destroyed house and continued their days together as an Ohana. Lilo and Stitch 2. Stitch is a glitch. Lilo is preparing for an important hula recital just as Stitch's behavior becomes darker and he's unable to control himself, which causes tension between them. Unbeknownst to Lilo, Stitch is malfunctioning and dying, and Jumba and Pleakley are working on a solution with a fusion chamber. Lilo becomes extremely obsessed with winning the contest and neglects Stitch, who is trying to prove he can become good, but because of the glitch, he tends to lose control. She wants to carry on her mother's legacy, as she had won the contest when she was Lilo's age. After a journey through Hawaii to find some ideas, they decide to use the story of the goddess Hiaka and the mortal Lohiau. At the tryouts in hula class, Stitch's glitch causes him to lose control once again, resulting in disaster. Lilo gets into trouble with Kumu, who angrily threatens to expel Lilo from hula school. Lilo, who doesn't realize that Stitch was glitching, blames him and thinks that he's doing it on purpose. Then she exercises alone. After Stitch comes back, they have a big fight, with Lilo saying that he's bad, he will always be bad, before abandoning him. On the day of the recital, Stitch appears to wish her luck, but he accidentally malfunctions and scratches her on the face, just like in his nightmare at the beginning of the movie. Horrified, Stitch decides to leave Earth, believing himself to be too dangerous. Lilo, knowing that Stitch would never want to intentionally hurt her, finally realizes that something is wrong with him and begins to fear for him. Unable to focus on her dance, she decides to forfeit the competition and leave to search for him, with Nani, David, Pleakley, and Jumbo following behind. They search and communicate with him via phone. He's taken Jumbo's ship to leave for an unknown galaxy but crashes during one of his glitches. Lilo finds him unconscious on the peak of a mountain. Stitch is placed in Jumbo's newly built fusion chamber, but then dies.
We're too late.
Lilo mourns for her departed friend, but out of nowhere, Stitch is revived. Lilo and her Ohana have their own hula recital centered on how love is more powerful than death. Stitch the movie. In this film, Lilo teaches Stitch about cousins, but during a day at the beach, Stitch is unable to befriend anyone and ruins the luau. Back at the house, Lilo tries to cheer up Stitch right before Jumbo is kidnapped by Gantu. Lilo and Stitch learn why he was captured, that Gantu's new boss, Dr. Hansel, wants the other 625 experiments, who have been dehydrated into the form of pods. Lilo refuses to give up the experiments, as they are Stitch's family. Jumbo still needs to be saved, so Lilo and Stitch unleash one of the experiments. Experiment 221 is activated through the use of water. The lightning bolt-like experiment runs loose, prompting Lilo and Stitch to chase after him. They give up for the night, but the next morning they set off again, finally retrieving and befriending him. Lilo names him Sparky and heads to the lighthouse where Cobra, Bubbles, and Pleakley are about to trade the other experiments for Jumbo's freedom. While Jumbo is freed, the experiments are taken, but Lilo, Stitch, and Sparky board Hamsterville's ship. They rescue the other experiments, which are now scattered all over Hawaii. Sparky repowers the old lighthouse back on Earth and claims it as his home, while Lilo and Stitch become experiment hunters, setting out to find all the remaining experiments so they too can be turned from bad to good and given a place where they belong. Lilo and Stitch, the series. Lilo and Stitch have become full-time experiment hunters. In this series, Lilo has decided to name all the experiments. They meet various experiments along the way, some having large impacts on their lives while others are a grab and go. Nearly every day they battle Gantu for the experiments. Aside from the hunting, Lilo falls in love with a local boy named Keone Jameson. He also meets a new friend named Victoria, who had just moved to town. Despite being a human with no powerful abilities, Lilo is viewed as a large threat to the plans and ambitions of the series' villains. He often refers to Gantu as the Big Dummy, whilst he refers to her as the Little Earth Girl. The series also depicts Lilo as being rather mischievous as well, often resulting in her and Stitch getting into trouble with Nani and the other adults around the island. He and Stitch have also had help on their adventures with other animated Disney Channel characters, such as Kim Possible, Jake Long, Penny Proud, and the Recess Gang. Leroy and Stitch the movie. Lilo, Stitch, Jumbo, and Pleakley are being awarded by the Grand Councilwoman, as they have successfully retrieved all of the genetic experiments, with the exception of 625, and turned them from bad to good. Lilo becomes the caretaker of the experiments in Hawaii. Pleakley is given a position at the Galactic Alliance Community College, Jumbo is given access to his lab again, and Stitch becomes the captain of the Big Red Battleship. The friends are now given the choice to fulfill their dreams or stay together. Unfortunately for Lilo, the aliens depart, leaving Lilo and Nani alone and sad. After a few days, Jumbo is held captive by Dr. Hansel to finish an experiment, whom Hansel names Leroy. Lilo tries to communicate with Stitch, but he, Pleakley, and Jumbo have been captured by Leroy. Lilo goes to the only one who has the technology to reach her friends, 625, who is soon named Reuben. Together they learn about Leroy and head to the Grand Councilwoman, who has been demoted to Hamsterwheel's secretary. Lilo and Reuben are imprisoned by Gantu, but later free when Gantu has a change of heart. They reunite with Stitch and set off to Earth in order to save the captured experiments. A battle ensues between the experiments and Leroy and his clones. Lilo, Stitch, Reuben, and other experiments rally together to defeat the entire Leroy army by singing Aloha Oi, which caused the Leroy army to shut down due to a failsafe mechanism. Back at the Galactic Alliance, Lilo and her friends reunite, choosing to give up their awards and return to Hawaii together. There they, along with Nani, David, Myrtle, and all the other experiments, come together to take a family photo.
I've never heard of that.
Trivia. Lilo can mean lost or the generous one in Hawaiian, hence her generosity to us in the series and possibly her loneliness. It is quite possible that both Lilo and Nani were named after Queen Liliuokalani, the last ruling monarch of Hawaii. Lilo was 5 years old in the original story. While not confirmed, Lilo is widely regarded to have symptoms relating to autism. In the montage at the end of the movie, Lilo has 7 candles on her birthday cake. She likes to be messy, which causes problems for adults around her when she makes such a big mess. At least 3 times in the television series, when an experiment is christened, Lilo gives a ridiculous reason for its name and for someone else gives a logical one. For Shu, who had a horseshoe-shaped growth that affects his luck ability, she said he needed shoes, despite the fact that none of the experiments wear shoes. For Wishy-Washy, who grants wishes, she presumably named it that because he had wish in the name. For Link, who binds together arguing people with sticky blue gunk that only mud can remove, she said he was named after Lincolnstein, a zombie president. In Spooky, Lilo's worst fear is clowns. He enjoys feeding peanut butter sandwiches to Pudge the fish and cleaning his grove for him. Lilo is one of the easier plushes to find, as you can track her down from the Disney Store, various online websites, and even some stores. If you enjoyed this video, please smash a like, subscribe to the channel for more Lilo and Stitch videos, and leave a comment down in the comment section who's your favorite character and which one you'd like to see us do next. Until next time, aloha!